to our show. Lucky. We are lucky. I always feel lucky. Paul Pukis is here with us, Capital Asset Protection Advisor with Mosaic Insurance Alliance, one of the fastest growing insurance agencies in Washington State, and of course the author of Protect Yourself. Mr. Paul, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Thanks for having me back.
It's great to have you. You know, we were just discussing the holiday season, and
it is upon us.
It is upon us, man. I tell you, right after that Black Friday, it's like, bam, Christmas music.
And we were just talking about it. You know, Heather mentioned earlier, can you believe it's December already? You know, you'll probably say that the rest of your life, Heather, when December comes.
I think you say it every month. Like, oh, my God, can you believe it's January already?
It happens that way sometimes.
It does. I always look at it, you know, being a football fan, I'm like, can you believe there's only 4 games left? And then I got to come out of my cave on the weekends and, like, explore other things than red zone television. Paul, enough about the football season and the season, because we know it is December, and most people do associate December with the holidays. Now, insurance is something that people purchase in case things go wrong. What I like about the way you work and the way you do business is your goal is to really help people not have things go wrong and to keep them safe, to protect themselves so they don't maybe need the insurance they're purchasing from you.
Yeah, I mean, my ideal situation, and I think anyone would agree, even though they may feel bad about it, is the goal is to simply pay for the insurance and never use it. I mean, that would be the ideal situation. A lot of people
sounds awesome from a consumer standpoint. Like,
you're right. You know, and every insurance company thinks, those are the great clients.
Right.
Those are the ones we want. It is true. It is the ones that the companies want. I get a lot of people that call in and say, well, yeah, I want to file this claim. I'm paying for insurance. Why don't I use it? Well, we can have those discussions about how that can affect things down the road. But to get started, we have discussions with our clients on how to be safe. And you bring up the holidays and how you can be safe at home with different things as you put up lights, as you bring in Christmas trees, maybe additional heaters to keep the house warm when it gets cold. And all those things can be risks for the home. And our goal is to make sure that people are educated on that so they get the privilege to pay for their insurance every year and never use it, because no one wants to go through that. I don't care who you are, insurance company or client, a consumer of insurance. You simply don't want to use it.
Man, I want some more of that. Give me some more insurance over here. I want to pay for something and never use it.
There you go.
Paul, it is true, though, because when something goes wrong, I mean, you could just think about a car accident. It doesn't matter who's paying for the damage. You got to go figure out what your rental car is. You got to get to the shop. And it's not like people are walking around these days going, hey, I need more stuff to fill my plate because I got time. It doesn't really seem to work that way.
People are busy enough as it is, and they've got things, you know, you throw a wrench in the system, car accident, home claim, whatever it is, and you're now more busy. So
what are some of those biggest ways, or what are some of the best ways that people can be, you know, safer during the holidays?
Well, there's definitely things that you can do year-round. But what we can touch on right now is some of the stuff that changes during the holidays, and most of that is when people put up lights. You bring in Christmas trees get dry and can catch fire. Wrapping paper, very easy to catch fire. And the chemicals on some of that wrapping paper make it a risk. Mm-hmm. And there's heaters. People tend to bring in space heaters during the winter, and those have shorts. They draw a lot of power through an electrical outlet. They can cause issues for fire. Also, there's the risk of people getting up on a ladder when it's cold and slippery on that metal ladder and trying to hang something up, even though the warning sign on the ladder says, please, you know, do not go above this level or this step. Well, you know, if you're as tall as Heather.
You're like 6'6", man. I have a feeling you don't have to go to that high step.
No, but my wife is a little shorter.
Little guys like me, they got to deal with that.
Right. So if you're on the very top step. I love your empathy,
but let's be honest. You've never had to go to the top step.
No, I would get down and get a taller ladder before I went that route to make sure.
And I would call somebody to hang the lights.
And you would call somebody. That's another option. That's a different way of transferring the risk of getting up there on the ladder or on the roof, is to call someone else. So definitely, that's probably a good way to handle it.
Agreed. We're with Paul Pukis, Capital Asset Protection Advisor with Mosaic Insurance Alliance. So, Paul, you talk a little bit about the safety and making sure you're not falling off ladders. There's always these fires that seem to come up as well. What are some of the best ways to, we talked about the wrapping paper and lights around trees. Are there other big fire hazards?
Well, there's space heaters are definitely an issue. But I think if you've got different lights as well, they make some lights now that go inside the house that could go in windows, and those can, if they rest up against the wood frame or something, can cause that to ignite potentially. And I think the important thing is to make sure that if you do leave the house for a short time or for an extended period of time, if you're going on vacation, is to turn those lights off. They're not your normal lights that you leave on all the time, like the light bulbs that you screw in all year round. These are lights that are meant to be up for a short period of time, and leaving them on constantly is typically not a good idea.
They're also colorful, which is different than I have.
Oh, yeah. Well, that might help come, when everything becomes legal here today.
There you go. Yeah, look at that. Oh, put the Christmas lights up in the house. Fire hazard. Paul, we talked about, trees going up in flames. We went out and, we bought a plastic fake one from Costco. They're actually amazing, by the way. You couldn't tell the difference. It's like, wow, it's like the perfect tree, right? They really nailed the plastic tree.
Wasn't the Charlie Brown Christmas with the tree? It was full.
This thing was like, anyway.
That's good.
We think it's nice. And it's super easy. You just kind of plug it in. So it's probably not as flammable.
No, they make them a little better.
A little better. But wood, on the other hand, is very flammable.
Yep.
Are there tips about the tree in particular?
Well, you want to keep it watered. That's for sure. You always want to keep water there in the base of the tree. And that's the best thing. The trees dry out, though. If your home is warm and you're pumping a lot of warm air through there to keep the house warm, that's going to dry the tree out, and there's nothing you can simply do about that. So,
well, are there other ways that? Are there other ways? You actually talked about even keeping a live tree in a house.
Well, you bring up a good point, and something that my family we found a couple years back, and I'm a huge proponent of it. The Northwest Stream Center in Everett. Now, the only problem with this is that it's run by Washington State University. So that's the biggest issue as a Husky to go there and get this tree. But what they do, and why I'm such a big proponent of it, is you can actually go and rent the tree from them. They have 4 different species of tree that you can rent, and it comes in a big pot, and you can decorate it, everything normal, and then after Christmas, you return it. And the coolest thing is, the Northwest Stream Center, what they're all about is they plant those trees then along streams that are habitat for salmon. And coming from UW, from the fisheries program, that's close to my heart to go and protect our natural habitat for salmon. And this is a great organization. You can get a tree that is going to be used for years and years on this earth instead of cutting one and using that tree.
So, interestingly, not only is it good for the environment, as you talked about with salmon, but it's less prone to catching fire because it's
a live tree. That's right. It will not dry out the same way.
You don't go take a lighter to a live tree outside and the thing goes up in flames. They don't.
Right.
You take a dry tree and,
a dead tree that's now dry.
Yeah, that thing is a little bit much more flammable.
There you go. Yeah.
Paul Pukis joins us, Capital Asset Protection Advisor with Mosaic Insurance Alliance. Paul, we just have about a minute left. When you use this Northwest Stream Center, is it how does that work? Is it easy? They kind of come in, come out?
I love it. You show up on a Saturday morning, and they've got hot things to drink because it's typically cold when you go there. I don't remember the specific dates, but you can search for it online. Adopt a Tree Stream Foundation, Northwest Stream Center, and you can find it. You go there, it's first come, first serve. You walk around, you pick the tree, and you carry it to your car, and you go away. And then you come back the week after Christmas and give it back to them. And
probably less pine needles. Probably all sorts of easier pieces about that.
I love it. I think it teaches a great it's a great lesson for the kids that here's a way that we can use something and then put it back in the wild and have it grow and support the habitat for local salmon. something that I appreciate quite a bit.
Well, there you go. A way to not only keep your house from burning down, but to make sure fish keep coming back. You didn't know that you could do both those things in one swoop of a Christmas tree. Hey, we do have to go to break. When we come back, Eric Roberson, Jeff Lakeman, Paul Pukis, and myself will continue the conversation here on Brashonomics.